The cold, brisk morning air fills my chest with a refreshing bite as the fog cascades on my face like damp, airy pillows on top of this watchtower. This revealed to me the most beautiful forest scene. I grab my still hot thermos and warm my hands a moment before pouring some coffee in the cup. The cup of brownish black liquid fills me with a vigorous smack of energy. The sky was shining so bright, but not too bright, just bright enough to do the plants and wildlife justice. It's a good day to be a forest ranger. Barry, the forest ranger. It's a lot of work maintaining and protecting these rugged trails and campgrounds. But to be honest, I consider my job more of a getaway. What gets me away the most is the birds. Most importantly, the shrikes. I have always had an attachment to this small, beautiful bird. Ever since I was a child, I was fascinated with how they would take down large prey. It was unlike anything I've ever seen anywhere else. You see, what separates this bird from other predators is its ability to kill very fast, with very little. With its small, curved beak, it's able to grab a spine and swing it until it breaks the prey's neck. It then impales the cadaver to thorn bushes and barbed wire. Some may see this as dark or distasteful, but it's far from morbid to me. These black-masked flying marvels are the purest form of nature with how it strikes fast and without prejudice. It's a display you will see nowhere else. I normally don't do drugs on the job, but these mushrooms were found in nature. Well, if you consider buying a bag of shrooms bought off a questionable-smelling dreadhead day tripping found, then sure, it was found in nature. I normally don't do this, but I thought, what the heck? So without a further thought, I empty the contents into my mouth, chewing the bitter dry fungus and washing it down with coffee. It takes a few sips and swishes to get the last earthy bits out of my teeth. I can already feel my mind and vision vibrate as the shrooms dig deep into the tunnels of my consciousness. The trail starts to pulsate, leading me further into what was once familiar. Large oak branches twisted into the most strange yet beautiful strands, vines exploding with radiant blossoms that seem to breathe the longer you look at them. Everything seemed to be changing, but one thing remained consistent. One thing stuck out more than anything else. It was my pleasant little feathered friend, the shrike. The beautiful bird was flying from tree to tree, occasionally looking at me, batting its wings. The trail is breathing and shifting, much that I start to stumble, making it difficult to keep up with my new friend. The shrike eventually led me to her nest, made up of sticks and various patches of fur, all surrounded by dense and thorny wild roses. The rose bush was littered with several small rotting animal parts, mice, snakes, and other birds dismembered and impaled to the grisly large thorns left to dry out. As I got closer, I noticed the babies of the nest, all mouths gaping in my direction. They are hungry. I start to hear the fluttering sound of many more songbirds moving into position around me, all staring with their shiny black little eyes. I think they expect something. The begging mouths of the babies continue to gape for food. I reached out to a thorny rose stem hanging over the nest and tightened my fingers around it, pricking my hands with large thorns. The babies fight over the stream of blood, one head constantly pushing the other for a chance to get their fill. As painful as this was, it felt amazing. I felt like I found a family all over again. One of the lurking birds came down to the bush and pulled a bird head from a thorn, like it was picking a cherry off the stem, and placed it in my hand. How delightful. A gift for nursing their brood, my rite of passage. I placed the small morsel between my teeth. As I bit down, I could feel the little skull bone crack. As much as my esophagus gagged in revulsion, I continued to chew, grinding the bits down till I could finally swallow my decomposing snack. The worst easily would have been the tiny dry feathers that wanted to stick to the back of my throat. The sound of the gulps sends the shrikes in a frenzy of satisfied songs. I felt empowered and accepted. No longer alone, but one of the flock. One of the shrikes. The shrikes continue to lead me down a wooded trail so thick with shrubs that only a few beams of sun would shine past. At one point, it got so dark that I couldn't find my way if it wasn't for the joyous songs of the shrikes. We traversed further and deeper into the tunnel-like formation until we came to a large opening at the end. As we approached the exit, I could finally see what they were leading me to all this time. I was led to a large open green field hidden in all this oaky forest. A woman was walking in the field. She's far out, but I could still make out her appearance. She is beauty incarnate. I must get closer. As I make my way into the field, the tall grass and weeds tickle my legs, itching me to go further. As I get close, I notice that she is having a picnic in the middle of the field, sticking her teeth into a rich red apple, sending a mist of sweet, juicy sugar into the air. Her hair is as long as it is beautiful. Her smooth and creamy skin makes my hands sweat and shake. I want to stare at her forever. Just stand the test of time, rotting away with her as fate would intend. Her and me till there's nothing left but bones, dust, and a beautiful story long told. But I know there's more to why they led me here. This must be another test. I lay in the grass, slowly creeping up to her. Anticipation fills me with a nervous tremble that I can't control. She is so close, only a few feet now. Like a bird that's found its prey, I pounce on her. She is terrified, screaming, hitting, and scratching me, trying to get away. It's of no use. In only moments, I'm able to pacify her forever when I fix my strong hands around her neck and tighten my grip. Her eyes go big, full of panic, dread, and confusion before they lack expression completely. A visage more peaceful than anything I've ever had the honor of seeing in nature. A true reward, her soft, fragile neck snaps, making her head fall limp on her picnic towel. I took a moment to appreciate the gift given to me by the flock. Her silent story is more beautiful now than any piece of folklore passed to my jaded eyes. Her body laying beautiful and still, I realize what I must do next. Rolling her body in the towel, I drag her back into the shrub-ridden tunnel, back to the nest for my final task. Once I arrive at the nest, I lay the body by a tree still covered. I begin to fashion a small barbed den made of sticks and rose bushes. The thorns hurt to the touch, but it wasn't enough to tame my overwhelming excitement. Once it's large enough, I drag the body close by. I unravel her and remove her clothes, ripping and pinning the fabric from her dress on the inside to help keep me warm. I then take her by the wrist and rub her soft, cold, delicate hand on my face. Feeling the most euphoric sense of affection, I slide her index finger in my mouth before biting down, snapping it like a carrot, removing her pretty pointer and pressing it against a large rose thorn until it sticks. I bite into her flesh, jamming my teeth past the thick layer of skin, twisting each mouthful and pulling as hard as I could till I jerked a piece away with a juicy smack. I did this again, ripping off piece after piece for hours, pressing each chewy piece of muscle and gristle to the barbed thorns, stacking the bones and gore on my prickly shelter till it was complete. A house built of the overwhelming and natural energy I call love. I finally acquired a home, a real home. I mantle her head on the very top to show appreciation for a love willing to nurture my family with her own sacrifice. For this I will never forget you. I bury my hands into her chest cavity before I extract and take a bite from her heart before mouth feeding it to my brothers and sisters, huddling up and resting in my home with my new family.